anything the mob might attempt, the supposed but doubtful treason of its governor in firing upon those whom he admitted to parley, we are not here concerned. The Bastille was rushed after very considerable efforts and an appreciable loss in killed and wounded. By the evening of that day, Tuesday, the 14th of July, 1789, Paris had become a formidable instrument of war. The next news was the complete capitulation of the King. He came on the morrow to the National Assembly, promising to send away the troops. He promised to recall Necker. A municipal organization was granted to the city, with Bailly for its first mayor, and a point of capital importance, an armed militia dependent upon that municipality was legally formed, with Lafayette at its head. On the 17th, Louis entered Paris to consummate his capitulation, went to the Guildhall, appeared in the tricolored cockade, and the popular battle was won. It behooves us here to consider the military aspect of this definitive act, from which the sanction of the Revolution, the physical power behind it, dates. Paris numbered somewhat under 1,000,000 souls, perhaps no more than 600,000. The number fluctuated with the season. The foreign mercenary troops, who were mainly employed in the repression of the popular feeling therein, were not sufficient to impose anything like a siege. They could at the various gates have stopped the provisioning of the city, but then at any one of those separate points, any one of their detachments upon a long perimeter more than a day's march in circumference would certainly have been attacked and almost as certainly overwhelmed by masses of partially armed civilians. Could the streets have been cleared while the ferment was rising? It is very doubtful. They were narrow and tortuous in the extreme. The area to be dealt with was enormous. The tradition of barricades not forgotten, and the spontaneous action of that excellent fighting material which a Paris mob contains, had been quite as rapid as anything that could have been effected by military orders. The one great fault was a neglect to cover the Invalides. But even had the Invalides not been looted, the stock of arms and powder in the city would have been sufficient to have organized a desperate and prolonged resistance. The local auxiliary force, of slight military value it is true, the French Guards as they were called, were wholly with the people, and in general the Crown must be acquitted of any considerable blunder on the military side of this struggle. It certainly did not fail from lack of will. The truth is, if we consider merely the military aspect of this military event, that in dealing with large bodies of men who are (a) not previously disarmed, (b) under conditions where they cannot be dispersed, and (c) capable by a national tradition or character of some sort of rapid spontaneous organization, the issue will always be doubtful, and the uncertain factor, which is the tenacity, decision and common will of the civilians to which soldiers are to be opposed, is one that varies within the very widest limits. In massing the troops originally, the Crown and its advisers estimated that uncertain factor at far too low a point. Even contemporary educated opinion, which was in sympathy with Paris, put it too low. That factor was as a fact so high that no armed force of the size and quality which the Crown then disposed of could achieve its object or hold down the capital. As for the absurd conception that any body of men in uniform, however small, could always have the better of civilian resistance, however large and well organized, it is not worthy of a moment's consideration by those who interest themselves in the realities of military history. It is worthy only of the academies. So ends the first phase of the Revolution. It had lasted from the opening of the States General in May to the middle of July in 1789. The end of section 11.